So mix voice with vibrancy. And the way to get vibrancy in voice is to understand how to have a great connected voice, which is a not mixed voice, or another terminology, chest voice. And some of the other elements of where vibrancy come from in that. So I talk a lot about this in different things in the art of body singing, so I'm not going to go into tons of detail on all of these, but I talk a lot about what I call connecting and releasing. And so connecting is very much chest voice. You connect, everything is full on in terms of the position of the larynx and the vocal cords to give you your fullest sound. There's some details, but I'm going to skip some of those right now. But one needs to work hard enough to have this really vibrant I, and understand where some of that vibrancy comes from. One is that it's not airy, even though we like air and we can use that. Understanding where the treble is, the sizzle up here. Because I could be doing this in a very dull way. But I'm doing it with a nice open nasal passage that's giving me vibrancy. Well, if I understand that, I'm going to be able to add that to the mix if I go that direction. The mix first is understanding that it's a release. It's a kind of release of pressure, the same way air is. And the two can work together, and there should be an independence between the two. That's a pretty non-airy mixed tone, almost falsetto at this point. As I start pulling back towards the connected tone or towards the chest voice. Understanding where that nasal tone comes from can be really helpful in adding the vibrancy to this mix. Without going all the way over to to a belt tone. So that is one of the biggest assets, as well as knowing that if I let too much air go by, I'm in a very hard time getting a vibrant mixed tone, or any other kind of tone, although air can be great if you can keep the vibrancy in there. Or in a chest tone. Here's where I'm letting both things happen a little bit. I'm letting it mix, let a little air go. Costing me a little more energy, though. I'm having to rise to the occasion on that, which is another part of getting a vibrant mixed voice, is understanding where energy comes from. As I get to some of these inefficient places, which I talk about in some other areas too, if I'm going fast right now, if I'm getting to these inefficient places by letting something slip, mix, and letting air go by, I have to follow it with energy, and that's not the same as, it's not pushing. It's just having the support system be very fast. As I say a lot of times, great singers are very fast. So if I did this in the lightest possible way, when the love of your life treats you like a hobby, the love of your life treats you like a hobby, all the way over. So when the love of your life treats you like a hobby, yeah, when the love of your life, into a belt tone. It's a pretty controlled belt, though, and that's something I call compressed belt. As opposed to, when the love of your life, it's just kind of too much out there. I have to reel this thing in, keep it a little smaller. Yeah, when the love of your life treats you like a hobby, so I can still have a belt quality to it, but I'm keeping it very controlled. But if I start letting that slip, yeah, when the love of your life, when the love of your life, it wants to head that way. If I push through that, it's going to be church lady. When the love of your life. So I've got to work the two worlds together between the connecting and the energy. Yeah, when the love of your life, yeah, when the love of your life treats you like a hobby, and you can't buy a thrill, and you can't buy a thrill. There's a lot of chest in that, and you can't buy a thrill, and you can't buy a thrill. It's blending those, which is why it's called mix. But understanding the ingredients of that, how to first get a really great connection tone, understanding what a release is, And chances are it's going to be from fully connected to complete released, and then really doing that so many times that you can feel all the clicks in between. So fully connected, I, completely released, I. And then what are all those shades in between? And they take some control and they take some support. So you have to keep working down here too. It's not just up here. A lot of it's about being down here and opening up the ribs and really feeding that thing that's happening. So work on those steps.